Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. The North American World Championship qualifier took place this past weekend, the last of the duels to determine who will be going to Worlds in Japan of August this year. The Konami blog tells me that just over 3,000 duelists competed at the event, and the top 64 cut showed a diverse collection of decks. Not just the likes of Kashtira and Runic builds that we could expect, but a tier limit deck topped, 2 gold pride decks if I'm not mistaken, and even a super heavy Manadium build. And what's that? Gishki Sprite. My god, Gishki Sprite made top 64. Do you remember that deck? I don't. This trend would even follow through into top 32 with one hero player making it that far after winning his top 64 feature match. Top 16, however, would show a return to form of sorts for the format, with more than half the decks making it being Kashtira, and 3 Dragon Link decks would go on to show the strength that that deck has even 4 years after its debut. Apart from that, the classic collection of Pearly and Sprite builds were in top 16, and even one Rika Sun Avalon. But unlike the EU WCQ, where Plants ultimately took the crown, the top 8 dropped diversity in the name of 6 Kashtira decks and just 1 apiece for Pearly and Dragon Link. And despite the colorful start to the colorful chart, the top 4 was nothing but Kashtira. Yeah, both semifinal matches and the mirror in finals was a mirror for cash. And of course, Game 3 was decided by everyone's new favorite card, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. And while it may have been a pretty nothing burger of a game in Game 3 because Erad stay mad, it's still a huge congratulations to Jeremy Mitchell for being the North American World Championship Qualifier Champion, a title that very few have. Jeremy will of course be joining the 5 others from the event, the top 4 for the main event, and the 2 players from the points playoffs that took place on Friday, which were Paulie Aronson and Steven Santoli. Congrats go to them as well as Lars Berquist, Enzo Falios Velasco, and Gerardo Varela, as I butcher the names of each and every individual to ever play this game. And I'm realizing now in real time, I don't think I listed the EU winners, did I? I'll have to rectify that. I apologize for being such a goddamn North American about it. It's quite literally in my blood, but genuinely, I apologize for that. I don't think I did. So I'll fix that. My bad, Europe. Whoops. Still, of course, the winners are only half of the story. To focus on that alone would be to omit the glory of things such as the website for pairings going down during round 2 of the main events, resulting in roughly 3,000 people having to find their pairings on paper, which was the exact opposite of claustrophobic, I can assure you. Other things of note, how about the boys T-posing on the stream? Or this image of 2 people selling cards against event policy and being reprimanded for it, live for everyone to watch. Maybe you'd prefer the clip from day 2 of the stream wherein the winner of the feature match in his interview mentioned that he'd been practicing on Dueling Book, which, whoops, that's not the Konami sanctioned simulator we approve of. Or maybe you just want to see the shot of the footage of the 2 guys playing. I'm pretty sure that's the One Piece trading card game. And like of all the people in that room dueling, they found the 2 people not playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, I love a live broadcast because something funky always happens, and occasionally we get to see it. And we saw plenty of it, and I love it. And my personal favorite, the fact that Eradicator wasn't just the blowout card for the finals, but it was the blowout for the semifinals as well. Both times by Jeremy Mitchell, no less. Dude was just gifted with the ability to open Erad. And in this feature match, the semifinal one, I should clarify, it was a much more brutal result because the opponent had 5 spells in hand. At least in the finals, they had 1 monster. That's still some copium, but man, immediate concession. Just open Erad, folks, and then you can be an NAWCQ champion. This, of course, brings up the discussion yet again about Eradicator and its place in the game, seeing as it's led to now 3 non-game blowouts for players, all on feature matches and pretty pivotal duels at the events. 2 of them, matter of fact, in the finals, so, you know, the one everyone's watching. And you might be of the opinion that anyone who complains about ERAD should simply get good and play around a trap used in the draw phase that offers literally no interaction whatsoever, because people are allowed to just showcase their intelligence at any point online, and that's the beauty of it. But this does tie seamlessly into the next segue of the next story, even though I butchered that sentence, god damn it. Because this week we learned details about Konami's recent shareholder meeting, wherein a number of things pertaining to the game were discussed, one of which was non-games being streamed at events. Shareholders reportedly wanted Konami to address two issues related to Yu-Gi-Oh! First, its struggle to attract new players, as the company has found that players who start with Master Duel can often struggle to convert into the OCG and in paper, and continue playing the game, with skills picked up from Master Duel not transferring as easily, or even just not enjoying the game in paper as much, I suppose. And the second being complaints online from players that streamed matches are too often one-sided, causing current players to lose motivation and causing new players to lose interest in playing the games at all because games are so heavily favored to one player. One thing mentioned in particular is the inability to surrender at top events, which is a ruling that is often contested whenever it's brought up in a discussion. Some games are immediately over based on your hand and your opponents, and being forced to drag out a duel you lost 8 minutes ago is neither very fun to play or all that eventful to watch. I believe this in particular is pertaining to an issue that happened in the OCG in tier limit format, or that's what's being said, because one guy clearly couldn't do it, but he had to sit there and watch because scooping's illegal, or at least in the OCG. C'est la vie. Konami then addressed these two complaints, issues, discussion points brought up by shareholders by saying that they do find it regrettable that new players can't stick with the game, and that they've been adjusting rules and even ban lists to make the game more enjoyable, and have a key interest in making the game more enjoyable to watch in particular. Currently, the state of watching one-sided games is something not unlike this.
So bending can go a long way.
Hitting that book moon is good.
And as funny as that is, it's probably not the look you want when you are at corporate. Which does kind of make sense when you look at things on a macro level. Future products like the 25th anniversary collection having countless staples and all rarities is a fantastic thing, not just for current players but especially new ones, and a new 2-player learn to play starter deck is being made in the TCG. And while they've been far from perfect, ban lists have been addressing more decks more blatantly, let's say. Super Heavy Samurai and Pearly were hit before people expected them to be, and while that's maybe not the best thing ever in the world for everyone, it does at least address the fact that they know about current issues independent of just new product, sell product. The issue comes from the fact that if you're going to make adjustments to the game to address one-sided games, there's a lot of things that need addressing. Win buttons like Dimensional Barrier, Dimension Shift, or Evenly Matched, balancing insane infinite negate end boards around hand traps and blowouts like Dark Ruler No More. There's a lot of things in this game that you can argue need tweaking, and I won't even argue against you. As it stands, all we know is that they know. They could choose to fix it by not having Master Duel and the paper game have different ban lists maybe. They could give us the sequel to the September 2013 ban list 10 years on and give us another massive hit to cards. Or they could do the Pokemon Company Classic and hit us with the tried and true, please understand. But it's by far the most interesting look at Konami's take on the game at large, and how even playing your favorite card game is ultimately simply fuel for the shareholders. Because my god, the market bros were right, it's all just an investment. Truly, this is the worst timeline. And speaking of investments, there are two products coming out this month for you to invest in, if you so choose. Firstly, the OTS Pack 22 will be releasing next week in North America and Europe, and approximately in October of the year 2024 for Australians, bringing us an Ultimate Rare branded fusion. And that's all we officially know at this point. There will be two other Ultras, or Ultimates, excuse me, but nobody knows what they are. And this channel is staunchly against leaks, in favor of being able to go to events. So get excited for that at locals, and of course get hyped for Duelist Nexus, launching at the end of the month on the 27th or 28th, depending on your region. Some known rarities now include the Glow Up Bulb 2.0 Revolution Synchron as a confirmed secret rare, alongside Crimson Dragon and Nightmare Magician. The Illusion Spellcaster are both secrets. Known ultra rares include the Infernoble Link 1, the Infernoble Field Spell, and one of the Infernoble Equips, the Altergeist Link 4, the cover card Not Quite Quasar, the new Yugi Dex Level 6 Fusion for Phantom Beasts, and the Walmart brand Instant Fusion Armament. Damn it. No word on big meta toys quite yet, like Epurely Noir or the Manatium Tools or even the new Fire Charmer for volcanic enthusiasts, but I'll bet at least a few of those will be quite sparkly. And we also learned that the card Magician of Bonds and Unity, the lone card to be printed in exclusively the Quarter Century Secret Rare in this set, will in fact be printed in each of the core sets for this year, with each printing from each set having a different background color to denote which set it was pulled from. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is known for reprints, so I do suppose that this continues that trend, and if you're anything like me, you learned that they were doing this and went, neat. Cool. And lastly, for new products, we've seen the box art for the upcoming 2-player starter set that will be released in late October of this year, which shows us the iconic Manatium Primard with his multiple energy blades going up against fucking Zeus. Which deck do you think has the advantage? Other box monster art include Vizaz Starfrost, Eldritch the Golden Lord, we got Cyber Dragon, we got Quillbolt Hedgehog on here, Gaga Magician, and Dark Magician Girl. I have no idea how many of these monsters are included in the decks or what the hell these decks are if they include this mishmash, but that's on the box. And if you're gonna be picking up the game to learn how to play it, I fully support getting Zeus. Zeus is probably like the best thing to give a new player. It's the best fucking Xyz we have. I don't know who it is that thought Manatium Primeheart was an acceptable, opponent to Zeus, but I don't make the products. I just buy them. And just a quick note for those who order cards from TierZeroGames, there's reportedly been a fire at the industrial estate by their warehouse, and they've stated that while they currently lack information, it's likely that pre-orders are going to be affected by this fire and ultimately be delayed. They're working on issuing an update as soon as they can, but if you have pre-ordered, say, Duelist Nexus or anything else, I'd give them a follow on Twitter or on any of their socials just to keep in mind, because hopefully nobody got hurt by the fire, but it will be affecting your trading card needs, and really, what's more important than that? In community news, I didn't follow the story I'm about to be talking about because I'm literally a gamer, and that's the most explanation I'm giving you for it. But apparently there was some amount of issue over competitive player Chris LeBlanc and someone who had paid him for coaching lessons, and then LeBlanc blocked him and they didn't get it, so they're out $150, which is LeBlanc's rate for coaching. Again, I do not have the details to the situation. The extent I saw was ultimately from 5th-rate Duelist making a point that I agree with on Twitter about the frequency of issues being resolved by the world at large through Twitter, followed by a mob for each side involved, basically just going, no, 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 and deciding which half of the story is morally infallible and then which other half is just Satan entirely with absolutely no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Every coin's got two sides. It's only beneficial to get all sides of information, both sides of the story. And by asking for one side of the story, you aren't like denying the other one. You're not calling someone a liar for asking for the perspective of the person who's being accused. It's just, people have their own innate biases and we omit things a lot, especially on Twitter. So I have no idea how all this worked out. I'm not making a comment on anyone involved in this story, because if I was, my dumbass would have the opportunity to put something phenomenally stupid on screen, like LeBlanc is Le Bad or something, which I'm laughing. Either way, my point is, don't be a fucking Twitter user mob mentality and try and think things out. And that's it. Again, I did not look into this whatsoever. I've put more effort into this next sequence and thinking it out than I did anything else. Kuriboh the gay way. Gay, Kuriboh the gay way. Kuriboh the gay way. Kuriboh the gay way. It's a gay Kuriboh. It's a gay Kuriboh. Also, I should thank the people who came by and saw me at the NAWCQ. It was nice meeting my fans. And if I saw you there, cool. And if this video gets 200 likes, I will release the gay Kuriboh cut of an NAWCQ vlog. Let's go, gay Kuriboh! And so that wraps it up for this week's update. So let's shift gears and thank the sponsor. That's right, it's the LIFD magnetic display. The best way to support my channel currently and the true duelist approved way to throw all these unrelated fusions from a binder right onto my desk. It's DM stuff, so at least Konami has approved of it. Stay tuned for next week when it's just Dark Magician, and that's it. So if you want to help me out, you can use my promo code YGOStrats15 to get yourself one of these bad boys for 15% off, or have the discount apply automatically by clicking the link in the description of this video. Thanks as always go to LIFD for the support, and thank you for watching. And so that'll wrap it up for this week's update. As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee. And make sure you subscribe to YGO Strats for next week's update to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so you too can be a true duelist.